guys, welcome to the live stream tonight. We have Joe and Kelly Charles, aka Retro Mod Bronco, which is, everybody knows, one of my favorite Gen 6 Bronco builds. I mean, you guys knocked it out of the park. Now, I met Joe. I've never formally met Kelly in person, but I heard all about her the whole weekend, and Joe made it very evident that this is yours, not his.
That is correct.
So go, girl, Bronco driver. I love it.
Right. That's
Now,
right.
now I met Joe at Super Celebration East in Tennessee, in Townsend, Tennessee, and I saw his Bronco, and I was like, OMG. Like, I love it. Well, yes, her Bronco. But I didn't know that at that time. I walked up and I'm like, I love your Bronco. He's like, it's not mine. It's my wife's. I'm like, okay, smart man.
So what's awesome really is just, it really is a small world. And I noticed who did the wrap on your Bronco. Tent House. I'm like, I know those guys. But how I met those guys is even crazier. I'm at a Mustang race in South Georgia, and gosh, it would have been November of last year, and I'm at the end of the pits, closest to the gate, and this two-door Bronco comes in and just kind of turns around, and I'm like, whoa, stop. And he's like, what? I'm like, you cannot drive through here in a brand new Bronco without at least letting me look at it. So that's how I met them. And then I just happened to notice that on yours, and so I sent him a picture, and I'm like, hey, who is this? I see this up there. He's like, oh, that's Christy. You got to go meet her.
Yes.
It's a small world.
It was such a small world. And how I met Tent House Customs, Jess and Ben, is kind of a weird thing. He posted something in a Florida Bronco Facebook group, you know, saying that they're a newer company. They're doing wraps and tints and all of that. And I reached out to him because I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about doing a wrap. You want to, you know, give me some more information? And then we decided to partner up, and they did the wrap on my Bronco. And I'm actually going to be releasing a video next week, just kind of like a follow-up about the wrap and how the quality was. And man, they did a fantastic job. I mean, everybody.
Oh, great in person.
Oh yeah, and you even saw it after it being off-road and being covered in mud. And I was a little worried how the wrap was going to hold up, but it has definitely held up greatly. But it was so funny because you came up and you're like, hey, how do you know Tent House Customs? And we started talking, and it was a small world, and it was really, really cool. And then, of course, you know, I started stalking your Bronco.
Her
Bronco. Sorry.
Straight by the end of the...
And, you know, I'm like, hey, I want to do a video on this because this is amazing. Now, I have a picture of, let me see if I can find it. I've got a picture of my dad's Bronco. Let me see if I can't find it in this drawer. He had a similar to, so let's show everyone the inspiration of this Bronco that you guys have. Here's the inspiration. Is there a particular reason for this inspiration?
Yeah, so the problem with having to wait so long after ordering a Bronco before it comes in is you have all this time to plan and order parts and see designs and mock-ups and ideas and this and that, and we'll say, oh, what do you think about this? And the other will be like, I don't know. And so we go back and forth. And this one day, it was just slow at work. We were both sitting on surfing on different computers, and we both found the same image and sent it to each other and said, well, what do you think about this one? I really like this. And it was that image. You're like, oh, well, that's it. That's the inspiration.
We did not come up with this image. We found this image online, and we just both decided we've got to try to pull this off. And then one thing led to another, and it has morphed into way more than we anticipated that it was going to be.
So let's rewind. Why the Bronco? What you put in an order, and you have a personalized plate that says what, 568 days? Is that right?
Yes, very good. Yes.
And so why did you put the order in? Was there a particular reason? Have you always been a Bronco lover, or you know, family history?
Really, always a Ford truck lover. Just Ford trucks. Period. Just the truck girl. Grew up in in very, very rural North Georgia, going out into the mountains with my dad and his pickup truck, his 79 F350, and it was blue and light gray. And I don't know, just Ford trucks has just always been, I've just always thought were really cool. And I've always loved Broncos. I've never had one, but I've just always thought they were really cool. And so several years ago when they start talking about bringing back the Bronco, that was one of those things like, oh, that'd be cool. Let's add that to the stable. Let's get one. At the time, I had no idea what all was going to be involved in the long wait and how crazy it was going to be to even get one. At the time, it was just like, yeah, cool, let's order a car.
Right.
But then it morphed into something completely different. But yeah, it just boils back to being bleeding Ford blue, loving Ford trucks, and just wanting a Bronco.
So you're a Ford-loving family, and you mentioned let's add it to the stable. What else do you have? Do you have other Ford vehicles?
So yeah, there's a couple.
They're just a couple?
I worked in a Ford dealership for over 15 years, worked in parts, was always the performance guy. Been a top 10 Ford racing dealer for probably 12 of those 15 years that I was in the business, and thoroughly enjoyed it. But I've had at least one Mustang since December 3rd, 1988. I bought my first one. I still have the canceled check. I paid $12,371.88 for an '89 Mustang LX 5-liter.
Wow.
And today there are 3 Mustangs in the stable, an F250, a Bronco, and maybe another Mustang if it gets built.
Wow. So do you have a favorite one?
Yeah, my favorite's going to be a 17 GT350R. Crazy story how I acquired that car. Had a very, very unfortunate accident on a racetrack in a 2016 GT350.
Wait, is that the video that I have? Is that the accident you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so let's pause. We'll get back to what you were saying. We have this crazy video. Joe sent this to me, and I'm like, what in the world? Please tell me this.
Is that real?
It looks like a video game. That's why I'm like, there's no way this is real. So I'm going to show this clip. Do you want to give the background on what happened, or should we show the clip first?
So I'll tell you this. I was not racing. I was on a racetrack. It was not a timed event, but this is what they call a high-performance driving event. So we are driving the car at probably 8/10, along with other people that are in the same kind of run group, the same kind of experience. You can only pass in certain places, and we're really running the snot out of these cars, having fun. And I had been on track, can't remember if it's the 4th or 5th session of the day. It was the last session of the day, and toward the end of the session, I had a catastrophic engine failure that resulted in a small fire.
So let's check this footage out. This is Joe driving. Let's check it out. That's crazy. Was that really scary? Did you just see flames? Like, did it just pop around you?
So, absolutely, it was scary, but I've been around cars and competition for a really long time. It's not a matter of if something's going to happen, it's when it happens. And in the race cars, we practice being in the cars with all our gear, belts on, everything, and then you try to get out of the car as fast as you can with your eyes closed. You constantly go through these things. If you panic in a situation like that, you're screwed. You're going to get hurt. So I check my mirrors. The guy gives me a point bike. The video was from the perspective of a BMW that I was passing. So I check my mirrors. Everything's clear. I start coming by him. And as you can hear from the video, I'm still under power. And when I check my mirror to come back over, the mirror's just full of fire. And the first thing I'm thinking is, what's happened to the BMW? And before I can finish that thought, I realized, oh crap, that's me. Started slowing the car down, and the brake pedal goes to the floor because we've pulled the brake fluid. So we also have a mechanical emergency brake backup. It's not really a parking brake, it's an emergency brake. So you have a mechanical redundant brake on the car. I start easing up on that brake and I get about 20% through the pull and the cable snapped. So by this point, the car's turned off. I'm off the track in the grass, probably running 80 or 90 miles an hour, and I put it in first gear and dumped the clutch. Why it didn't spin, I'll never understand. I was able to control it and get it stopped. And thank goodness I was at a racetrack where there was lots of medical and first responders there to put the fire out. And Ford was able to determine that it was their issue, and they took extremely good care of me. They paid me for the car, paid me for all the mods that were done to the car.
Basically bought the car back.
Yeah, they bought it back and got me an allocation for an R model. So that car, I've also got a GT500. That car's a lot of fun, and it would run circles around the R, but the R is just my favorite. It makes glorious noises.
Well, the R is what he wanted anyway, and at the time you couldn't, as you guys know, you couldn't just go on a lot and buy an R. I mean, there were very few allocations, and so many were spoken for, and it wasn't even a matter of writing a check for it. You just couldn't find one.
Right.
So we got our GT350. It's like, well, I'm very, very happy with that. I get my Shelby, but he had sold his race car and everything because the racing was just a little stressful, and he's like, if I could have something I could do every weekend, I could enjoy this with, you and I could go on date night with it, instead of this once a month, once every 6 weeks for a certain period of the year, stress the heck out about trying to win.
Right.
So, somebody's asking if that was Road Atlanta. That was actually Roebling in Savannah, Roebling Road. I had a race car, and we ran a competitive series with the NMRA Coyote stock, and we also are small business owners, and we opened a second location. If you're going to do the racing and do it right, you have to treat it like another full-time job. I don't want to be an also-ran. If I go to the race, I want the only reason that I'm not winning to be because I've done something stupid or I've made a mistake. Right. Lots and lots of fun, and that class, wow, now today is extremely competitive. If I were to show up with a car, I would be an also-ran. It would take me a very long time to figure out how they're running as fast as they are now. Great stuff.
Wow. So now, Kelly, were you there? Did you see the engine fire or anything?
No, I didn't. And he was there with a buddy of his. And when Joe goes to the racetrack, I don't hear from him all day. I mean, I've been with him enough times. I know that it's just, a lot of the tracks don't even have good cell signal, but he's in his element. He's doing stuff. Right. And we don't check in with one another all day long. And I have always, if it was a race that I couldn't go to, if he ever called in the middle of the day, my first thought is something's wrong because it's just not typical.
Yeah.
And I also know Joe well enough to know that he would think to call me really fast, but he would not stay on the phone long, and he would probably say something like, "I'm okay, but," and then follow with something. So anyway, he's at this driving event, and he calls. He's like, "I'm okay, but there's been a really bad fire, and I gotta go." Was that? And I'm like, you can't just leave it at that. I'm like, I mean, is he still in the car? Is it adrenaline? And he's actually not okay? I mean, I don't know. Right. So I'm trying to call his buddy, but I don't have his buddy's phone number. So I'm texting his buddy on Facebook, like, "Are you there? Can you see?" It took some getting around to figure out he was actually okay.
With the internet, I was terrified that she would hear about it before I could tell her. So I just wanted her to hear my voice.
Right.
Yeah, the adrenaline was probably pumping, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm okay, but the car's not." And
I'm okay, but there's been bad fire. I gotta go.
Well, it's actually amazing that Ford owned up, to all this and made it right with you.
Yeah. So that's a great segue into modding our Broncos. I mean, let's say we put a lift on our Bronco, King shocks, Baja kits, control arms. Does that void our warranty? No, not necessarily. If the air conditioner quits working, that can't be related. Now, if I'm having an issue with the King shock brakes, well, of course my warranty's not going to cover that. Or if the aftermarket part causes another Ford part to fail, they're not going to cover that. But being in a dealership and working closely with the service department and the parts department, I knew what Ford expected of me. I just kept my mouth shut. I didn't say anything at all about it. People would ask, and I'm like, well, I'm going to keep my mouth shut until we come to an agreement. but it took it to my local dealer. They determined that it was an issue with Ford. The regional guy came down and looked at it, and he determined the same thing. And then the national guy came down and he said, "No, I believe this is going to be caused by your exhaust." And I'll skip a lot of this, but I've been accused of not having that switch in your brain that allows you to think before you speak sometimes.
No filter.
And I'm talking with the Office of General Counsel at Ford, so I'm speaking with an attorney. And I said, "No, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. This is not cool. You guys need to have this open back up by the end of the week." He says, "That's not how this works. This could take weeks. And, as of right now, we're not going to cover this." I said, "Okay, I've been extremely quiet. I haven't said a word. I'm going public if you don't have something done by the end of the day." And I hung up on him. And then I'm looking at my phone like, oh crap, what have I done? And we were having lunch, and I come back in, and I'm just as white as the side of the Bronco. And she said,
"What did you do?"
I said, "They said no." And then I probably said a few things I shouldn't have. And she's like, "Oh crap, no." So as my luck would have it, an hour and a half later, this same guy, the attorney, calls me back and says, "I am so sorry. You were right. We did not realize this. Yes, we're going to take care of you." I know Ford's got to try to save money. They've got to try to tell me no and see what I'm going to do. But overall, they've just been spectacular to work with. It's not every day you're at a racetrack with a modded car, driving the fool out of it, and Ford goes, "Yeah, okay, we screwed up, we'll fix it."
Right. But I mean, that type of vehicle is made to do that. Just like the Bronco is made to go off-road. Well, how the one dealer's like, "Oh, well, you took it off-road and trying to pull a fast one on me."
That's what they're for.
Well, no. "Oh, I'm going to buy a Mustang or whatever it is, especially the 350s. You're going to take them to a racetrack. Who wouldn't? That's what they're made for. So I think that's awesome that they made it right, and it turned out better for you.
Yeah. So when I met Ben and Jess, I had my GT500 at the drag strip, running on a drag strip. So yeah.
And it keeps you loyal, and I think that's one thing they need to realize too. A lot of the Ford people, they're loyal. They're loyal to the brand, and they will stick up. They're your biggest. Your biggest supporter. They stick up for you, all of that. So they need to really support that, because once you start turning on your own people, they're going to start turning on you, and they're going to advocate against you, which is never a good thing.
KC highlights.
Hey!
So I'll tell you just how brand loyal I am. This one decided to buy some German junk. She bought an M3.
How dare you?
I love her to death, but I'm not putting my name on the title of that.
That's not going in the garage. What are you talking about?
But that actually has been a really, really cool car too. I was wrong. It's a neat car. But
they're good looking. They're
However, having said that, I have babied it and loved on it for 6 years. Driven it very much like a girl would drive it. Joe has never laid hands on it. And now it is for sale because I have a Mach 1 ordered. So I'm right back.
Mach, what color?
Blue, grabber blue.
Oh, nice. Man, I'm a little jealous of your guys' stable right now. All I've got is a Bronco, and I love it, but man, I would love to have some of your vehicles. So let's get back on track with Bronco. Somebody asked, what motor does the Bronco have? It's not a 302. What do you have?
It's the 2.7. The
2.7. And do you have any plans to do something crazy with the engine?
No, not motor wise. No, this is out of my element driving something like this. I'm not used to driving it yet. I don't want to start making it faster. It's plenty fast enough. If I want to get something fast, I've got other things that I can drive.
You have other vehicles that are made to really be fast, not a Bronco. Now, let's start talking about, I know we were talking about the cars in the stable. Did we talk about why you ordered the Bronco? It was just because you love Ford and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Was
it
there
kind of
anything?
started with like the love of Ford trucks, and I really we've got a Super Duty pickup truck, but a lot of the roads in North Georgia that I like to ride, where that's home for me, are just not practical in a full size truck unless you don't mind the sides of it getting all scratched up. And we're just more particular with our vehicles than that. So wanted a Bronco anyway, but there was, it was actually a reason for it. Like I wanted to actually be able to get on the weekends, go up there and drive, 100 miles. And what we call off road, just to kind of set the stage, we're
Right.
not talking about like serious rock crawling and four-wheel low kinds of roads. We're just talking about forestry roads. They can be
Yeah.
kind of rough, they can be pretty muddy and stuff. But that's just my element, and I wanted a vehicle that was capable. So it was capable anyway, just out of the box. But the modifications we did are functional for us. They're not just
Right.
the cool factor. It's like stuff that really and truly, meant something. I see Casey highlights on here, but there's stories to why we did certain things,
Yeah,
like the
and I think
KCs.
we'll touch on that because I have
Yeah.
pictures of different mods and everything. I do want to answer Grayson's
Oh yeah.
question. Have I ever driven a Ford Mustang Mach-E? No, I have not. I would love to. I would love to drive. I love to drive anything. So if there's a local dealer around me that has a Lightning in stock that I can go ahead and just give for a test drive, hey, I'm your girl. Just let me know. So since Casey Highlights is on here, maybe we should start talking about some mods that you've done to this. I don't like if I had to pick something that you guys have done, I don't know if I could pick one thing that's my favorite, but I think one of the most creative things that you came up with was how you made the slant, the illusion of that slant back, and
Mm-hmm.
how you did that. And I know you explained that in the video. Now, before I go further, if you guys have missed that video, I did a pretty good review and walk around of their Bronco, and Joe told us a little bit about how it came to life and everything. And we're going to do that also in this live stream. But if you missed that video after the live stream, definitely check it out. It's really cool. But we have some pictures to show how this came about. Now let's go. Okay, you bought it. Then what happens? You get the Bronco. You waited 568 days and you have it. Then what happens?
So we got it, and the very first thing we did was drive directly off of the dealership lot and straight to the mountains. So got to get that out of the way. Like I'm not sending it off to finishing school to get all this stuff done without actually going and driving the thing. So we went and drove it and ran it through creeks and had fun with it for an afternoon, and then we took it over to the folks at Glass Life, and by that point, Glass Life Atlanta. So by that point, we already had our vision kind of put together, our inspiration photo. We had some idea how we were going to pull some of this off. Joe had ideas on the slanted window. We had already ordered a lot of the parts, so they're kind of just sitting in the garage waiting, which is great because some of those, like the King Shocks and the Baja kits and stuff, was hard to get anyway. So it's kind of a good thing we had to wait so long.
So the slanted body line caused lots and lots and lots of sleepless nights. And people are going, really? You're stressing over that? Yeah, I really was. I'm so picky. And I'm not 100% happy with how it's come out. It's growing on me. I think I can make some changes. But, we went from, do you paint the glass? No, you don't paint the glass. Okay, do we do some kind of vinyl? Yeah, but then we couldn't get the vinyl.
Let's talk about that. This is not a wrap. If you haven't seen that video, this is not a wrap. And that's what makes this even more special. Actually, I think I got some pictures. So why don't we let's look at this. Let me get rid of this.
Which is also super scary when it's a 1-year color. I mean, I've heard rumor about it coming back. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was as far as we knew, a 1-year color and a 2-door. So I'm like, this is so kind of limited.
Our top, like let's just add all of these elements.
Let's
sand this color down, and we're gonna paint it. And
let's drive it for one day and take it to a shop and scuff it up.
Exactly. So here we've got this picture, and it's gutted, and I assume that's because they're going to paint it. And then next we've got this. That's just another angle. And then I'm getting to, here we go. What's going on here?
So that's after the panels have actually been painted. we didn't lose any sleep at all worried about this either. Let's take a brand new vehicle and just throw paint on it. But I am picky. As you can see, we pulled all the panels off the car. They were painted off the car, so we didn't get overspray here and there. Just really kind of went the extra mile.
Yes.
With this whole deal. And
Yes,
it's attention to detail that will set you apart from other people.
Right.
Other builds.
And you did other mods as well. You didn't just paint it. I mean, you did which here, the picture, the King shocks. And I think at the time at Super Celebration, you just had the front upper control arms and you were waiting for something in the back, right?
Yes. So I have received the rear control arms for the back from Baja Kits. I have not had a chance to get those on. Got a bunch of parts. I say a bunch. I've got several parts that I need to go ahead and make time to get installed. But we've actually been enjoying the crap out of this thing. It's got over 3,000 miles on it now.
And it's not a pavement princess. Like you guys said, the first day you took it up to the mountains, and I've seen some pictures of it a little bit dirty. And
oh, it's nasty. We didn't have a chance to clean it up this evening after work for the video. I don't know if it shows in the video, but it's pretty dirty.
It looks clean. But like I love it.
Good.
I love it that you take it off and get it muddy, but at the same time, I'm like, no, it's so pretty. You can't get muddy.
So funny story, Krista. Okay, so I was really excited about the idea of being able to remove, the doors and top and everything, but I've never had that kind of vehicle. We had a convertible Mustang once, but that's not remotely the same. I've never had a Jeep. I've never had a Bronco, anything like this that you would take off-road. So I was aware that it would get dirty and dusty on the inside, and I was not upset about that. I was aware, that's the whole reason we got the marine grade vinyl, so we could wash it out. But here's what I did. So me and my friend are going up last Monday, Memorial Day, and we're going to ride all day long in the mountains because that's a really fun thing to do. Had not rained, so it's really dusty. That's cool. I'll throw a cap on, my ponytail. I'm good. Not a big deal. I wear a t-shirt, shorts. I wear boots that can get dust. I'm carrying my very nice purse, just sitting in the back, and it's very secure, but I have no way of protecting it from the dust. My friend is going to take some pictures, so she has her camera bag. So it's sitting in there. So all of our stuff, we carried like some food, a little bit. All of our stuff was so caked in dust. Like my nice purse, there's no escaping it. I've just got to give into it.
Yeah, but that's part of the life, right? It's like,
but I learned, right? Yeah. So now I have like a garbage bag in the glove box. So if I get out again somewhere, I'll be like, here, just put it in the bag.
There you go.
We'll have to put a Milwaukee pack out in the bag, so we've got like dry storage.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
My experience, not knowing.
Now, how does with the King shocks? How does it drive? Does it drive pretty well?
It drives great. Yeah, it drives different. It's not as sure-footed, I'm going to say, as like the F-250. But the more we drive it, the more I'm getting used to it. It just has a lot more body roll than I'm accustomed to.
And did you have the Sasquatch package originally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's 2.7 Sasquatch Badlands, right? It's a Badlands?
Yep.
Yes.
High package or Lux?
Lux.
High.
Lux.
My bad.
Lux.
Lux. Okay. But you have marine grade vinyl, and then I think that's really
washout floors.
Washout floors. Okay. So it rides good. Now we're back on these pictures. This looks like the hardtop here, right?
Yes, that's when the hardtop was getting painted. And
how has that held up? I mean, it's been a few months. Do you have any chipping or anything? Because I know a lot of people have asked questions about painting the hardtop. Does it hold its quality?
Yeah, it's been fine. No issues at all. Yeah.
Awesome. And then here, this is a nice picture with the hardtop off.
And there's actually something you probably don't have a picture of because the top has been on it. But we actually painted the roll bar too.
I think I have a picture of that. Let's see here. No, not this one.
Maybe.
I thought I did, but maybe I don't.
I can pull one up if not.
Yeah, I thought I did. Maybe I didn't upload that one. Oh, and I wanted, since we're talking about mods, Hammerbuilt is extending a promo code for 10 people. You wanna tell them about it? You can.
Yes. So without a tailgate reinforcement panel, even with the factory 35-inch tires, if you're off-road and bouncing around, the tailgate's going to flex and you're going to hear it. Well, these tires are true 35s that we put on, and they're a load range E, so they're heavy as they can be. I wanted a nice tailgate reinforcement panel. So I scour the internet and I come across the folks at Hammerbilt and met Tyson, great people. So funny story.
I bet you were telling someone I was.
I ordered this, and we had a lot of parts here before we had the Bronco back. So I got his kit in, it's sitting here, don't have the Bronco back, and he calls me probably 4 or 5 days later. He's like, "Hey man, I just want to make sure that you got the parts and see if you needed any instruction or any help. How was the install?" I said, "Well, I appreciate the call, but I don't have it yet." I mean, but you're actually calling me, asking me this stuff? He's like, "Yeah, we do that." I'm like, "Customer service?
What
Really?
is that?
Wow."
I was sitting in the car with him when he got the call, and of course I didn't know who had called him, and we have this conversation all the time, and everybody watching knows customer service is non-existent anymore. You can't get people to show up on time. You can't get people to keep their word or care about whether you're happy with their product. Nobody cares anymore. So I don't even know what's going on. I just hear his side of the phone call, and he hangs up. I said, "Did somebody seriously just call you and ask if you're happy with their product? Is that what I heard?"
Yeah, it's
so
so
like, that
awesome.
is phenomenal.
Yes, and the product is great. It really is. It bolts right on. You have the ability to add a rotopack or some other accessories on the back if you want. And it's nice. It's real nice. So they are extending 20% off to the first 10 people that order that. The code is live now, but the coupon code is going to be Retro Mod.
Yes,
So
get on the bottom right
Yeah,
there.
so if any of you are in the market for that, it's a tremendous discount. Like, that just doesn't happen. So it's only for 10 people. So if you want it, now's your chance. Thank you, Hammerbilt, for offering that. I think that's really awesome. And we love, like, we've had a couple businesses on here, like IAG, and they had the soft top assist, and a couple people had some problems with it, scuffing the roll bars, and they immediately took care of the situation and reached out to everybody. So it's far and few between to find companies that actually care about their customers. So
yes,
I
it's
love
so refreshing.
Yeah, so I love supporting a company that has great customer service, and you experience that offhand, and it's even better that everyone else is reaping the benefits of a special promo code. So if you guys are in the market for something like that, if you can't click on the link on the screen, I do have it in the description below. And like Joe said, the code is RetroMod, and that's 20% off, but it's only the first 10 people. So if you want that, you may want to jump on it rather quickly than wait.
Yeah, in full disclosure, I paid straight retail for mine. I just wanted it and got it. And I have since met Tyson, and we've become kind of friends. Great company, really cool guy. I wish we were further out west so we could go ride with them. I think they do some really cool rides out there.
Right. And speaking of rides, I think, now you guys, where do you live? In Georgia, right?
Yes, ma'am, North Georgia.
And you were, prior to the live stream, we were talking a little bit, and you guys are trying to set up like a Bronco off-road meet. Not like a crazy off-roading event, but kind of like going in the mountains and everything. You want to give everyone some details? Because I think we have some people maybe in your area that are also Bronco lovers that can maybe join you.
So there's a lot of forestry roads up there in the Chattahoochee National Forest, or Cohutta, not Chattahoochee, Cohutta, leading on over into even Gilmer County and so on. But anyway, you could just ride and ride and ride on those roads, and we like to just make a day of it. There's a loop that we make that's about 85 or so miles. To us, it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit of kind of rough roads, so you get a little bit of that fix, like, okay, I'm off-roading, but nothing too intense, and nothing if somebody's timid or doesn't want to get anything too crazy. It's not anything scary, but the views are really pretty. The roads are just, so we thought, like, in the fall when the colors are just going to be spectacular up there, that it might be a good time to organize kind of a meet, a get together, and just have a bunch of us kind of just we were going to have a map prepared so everybody knows where they're going. You're going to have detailed instructions because there is no cell phone signal. Like, we are not calling and texting one another or anything.
Okay.
But there'll be really clear directions. But just thought it'd be a cool thing that people might enjoy that aren't maybe in the area to be able to do something like that every weekend like we are.
Yeah. That
And
sounds.
you can do it all in two-wheel drive.
Yeah.
You don't need four-wheel drive, but you don't want to take your Prius. There's a lot of places where the Prius would not.
Right. Well,
would
you
not even
guys
take it.
let me know. Do you have a date set for that quite yet, or you're still kind of
We're
planning?
looking at either the third Saturday in October or the first Saturday in November.
Okay.
Colors around here can be so unpredictable. Sometimes, last year it was early November before we had a whole lot of color, but a lot of times it's like middle, end of October. So we're just going to have to pick a date and go with it.
Yeah, it kind of all depends, I guess, how the weather is, if you've had a lot of rain. And, I know being from the Midwest, it all depends. There's so many factors of when those leaves start turning
we
color.
may do 2 dates and do it, a rain date, because, a little bit of rain's not a big deal. You could still do it. But if it was going to be a complete washout that day, it might not be.
Well,
but there's a huge picnic area that would accommodate. It's like they call it the ball field. In fact, on top of a grassy mountain, that would accommodate lots of Broncos parked out there.
Awesome.
We talked about like a picnic kind of, because it would be kind of toward the end of the route, so we could take off from maybe like Cisco, Georgia, right up in there, spend a few hours kind of roaming the roads, and like I say, everybody's going to have a map, and if you're responding to the event, which we'll post it in the Bronco AF group on Facebook and on the Bronco 6G forum.
And then let me know too. I'll post it
you'll share it.
the Buckle Up Buttercup Facebook page, and that way, it's reaching everybody. But that sounds like a lot of fun, especially if you're from Florida and you don't get to see pretty leaves changing colors. That might be good to drive up to see that.
And it's just beautiful. So we're just kind of looking forward to that because we love it so much, and we thought there's got to be other people that are into kind of off-road without feeling like you got to go rock crawling or anything. Just
and some people don't have a lot of mods, or some people don't even.
And you don't have to. Sure.
Some people don't even want to take their Bronco off-road. It's just everyone's got their preferences. Now with yours, let's talk mods. We just briefly touched on that, the paint, and the only vinyl on it is the pinstripe, right? The blue pinstripe. Yep. And we talked a little bit about the shocks. Why don't we talk about everything that you've done? Tell us about your wheels, just everything that you've got done for those that have not seen the walk-around video of the build.
Well, I'll talk about the lights, and then I'll let Joe talk about the other stuff, because I'm just passionate about KC lights because I'm KC, Kelly Charles. So
yeah.
I don't know if KC is aware that that's me, but just saying. But no, remember seeing those on off-road vehicles, growing up where I did.
It's classic.
That was the symbol of having a cool off-road vehicle, was having the KCs. But from a practical standpoint, we've got a side-by-side that we've been caught on mountaintops before in fog where you couldn't see the clouds 15 feet in front of the vehicle, and you literally almost can't even see the road in front of you. You can't hardly even crawl, and we weren't prepared with the proper fog lights. So that was one of those things. It's like, we've got to have the right kind of lighting, and it's an absolute night and day difference to have good lighting up there, when you're out in the middle of nowhere versus just your headlights, which your headlights work fine on the road and you think there's nothing wrong with them until you get out somewhere with real lights everywhere. So we've got the light bar, we've got the 3 lights down low, we've got the ditch lights, and then we've got, what are they called that are in the bumper?
2 C-Series lights that are in the bumper. I just got my dongle for ForScan, so I've got to figure out how to do that. I've got to turn those on through the system so I can use the factory fog lamp switch that I've added and wired them into the factory harness. We'll do that. But yeah, it's funny, she's saying the lights are KC, but we've been up there when it's overcast, and you can literally be 15, 20 miles away from civilization.
Yeah.
And be out there overcast at night, and you can't see your hand in front of your face. I mean, it is that dark out there.
Wow.
Just beautiful. And without proper lighting,
you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
We've got more lights than we need.
And how many do you have on top?
So there's 8 across the top.
Okay.
There's 3 on the front bumper,
Okay.
There's 2 ditch lights by the mirrors, and then there's 2 more C-Series lights in the bumper.
So you don't have enough lights, is what you're telling me. You need a few more.
That's a good idea, Krista.
Not on the front. Now we can get them for the sides and the back. Yeah.
You need it for the back, you know, like, I mean, I know you're not like me. Oh, I would never do this. If somebody cut you off in the highway in the middle of the night, you would never turn your lights on and blind them, would you?
We would never do anything.
Never.
That's illegal, Krista. We would.
I know. Who would do such a thing? Not me. I am a legal abiding citizen.
Of course, absolutely.
Legal abiding citizen.
Somebody, it's not me.
I read it online, though.
Yeah, so it must be true. So a lot of the newer vehicles with the factory LED lights are bright. And in the Bronco, the 250, were constantly people flipping their lights at us.
The Super Duties are extra. When we was driving ours, we would get flashed all the time. I'm like, this is normal. We don't even have. It's just normal.
I'm sorry your lights suck. Ours don't.
Yeah.
So this person, again, it's not me.
Somebody was telling us they did this.
Yeah, was telling me that they were on their way home from riding in the mountains and they hadn't put all their covers back on. On a long straightaway, a car flashes their lights and they flash theirs back. They're not on bright. The car got probably 100 to 150 yards from them, and they turned on brights and high beams, low beams, all just trying to blind this person. It's not me.
Well, this person had flashed their bright several times, like, no, turn them down, and then the other person like flashed back, like, no, they're not on bright. This is normal light. And so finally, it's like, you want bright?
You're right.
He clicked all 3 lights.
I swear, this person said you could see into their soul.
It was
You can see the color of the interior of the car.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
But another story, I will say though, so we have some trails and stuff back behind our house. So the other night we were just kind of down there.
I wouldn't tell that.
I'm going to tell it.
Ooh, juicy story. Remember, this is out on the world. Once it's out, it's out. Are you sure about this?
I'm embarrassing myself. So obviously we're using the lights and we come back home, you know, and turn the motor off. And so, of course, all the lights go off. I'll get up the next morning and go to work. Well, it's daylight outside. I don't realize when I turn the ignition on, all the lights come back on. So I drive all the way to work with all the lights on.
That's funny.
I get to work. I pulled up at a light down from work and I'm seeing reflection. We live in a rural area, so it's not like I'm on like 4-lane highway or anything. Yeah. But I get, you know, out there traffic light as I get close to work behind a vehicle. I'm like, what are all those reflections?
Wait, is there a second sun shining? What's going on? What's going on?
Even in the daylight, they are so flipping bright.
I was so embarrassed.
If Casey Highlights is still on here.
Yes, I said the name is fitting.
Yeah, I'm curious. Is this like the coolest Bronco that your lights are on? I mean, I know you probably can't say that, but if you could leave it,
they might like it.
Or something like. I mean, it's pretty sweet. I just think it's so fitting. I mean, Casey's, it's classic. I mean, we already discussed that. It's classic. And then with the whole look of the Bronco, I mean, it's freaking amazing. Like, I am almost a little jealous that I did not think of this. That's how much I like it.
Well, let me tell you, she's probably about to tell this. So 568 days, you know, Broncos start rolling out, and we've got this plan, and we're like, oh, somebody's going to beat us to the punch. Somebody else is going to do this. And it's just one of those things. This isn't easy to pull off. I mean, I have to watch my words.
They plead the fifth.
Yeah. A lot of people have tried, and I learned from those, and I don't want to call them mistakes because I don't want to throw anybody's build under the bus at all.
Yeah, people build what they like.
There was a lot of work involved in figuring this out, and a lot of time running tape. Is this going to look right? Is this proportionate? You know, how does this work? And going back to the mods, you know, other than the lift and all that kind of stuff, there was a reason for everything. The lights, because we've been caught at night in the mountains, and you really need to be able to see. The amber lights down low, because we've been caught in the fog and couldn't see. White light is going to reflect off of the fog. Mm-hmm. The amber doesn't. So the winch, you know, like I was saying earlier, you can be 15, 20 miles away from civilization, and a tree had fallen, or tree had fell. God, I'm such a redneck. And you've got to be able to move the tree.
Yeah.
A lot of times on the side by side, we have a winch, and we'll take the chainsaw with us, just because you never know.
Yeah, there's not a lot of traffic out there. You may be the first car through, in 2 days.
Right.
And we've been out before where we've got really low on fuel in the side by side. Hence the Rotopack with extra fuel. There's just a lot of reason behind this stuff other than the fact that it just looks cool. We want to learn how to actually wheel this thing.
But now what's funny is knowing, okay, that we don't do this for a living. Like, this is just our vision. And we think we have okay taste in things, but I mean, what if we screwed up? What if we put all this together and we get the finished product and we look back and people go, well, they tried.
No, I can tell you,
know, right?
people aren't saying that. I'm just going to be up front. Nobody's saying that. They're saying you knocked it out of the park. And I know I'm probably the minority here when I say this, but antimatter blue was not my favorite color. And, because you see it, I didn't see it in person, but after seeing it in person, it's beautiful. But your color combo with that, it's just perfect.
So we were going to do just your classic white, and Colin from Glass Life said, no, we've got to do the Wimbledon white. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And to me, that's made a huge difference.
It made it. I mean, that made it. I'm telling you.
So somebody at work, this happens all the time, but just yesterday maybe, I think, got a customer in the store and looks out and he says, so whose classic Bronco is that? Well, we get that all the time. People think it's a classic Bronco.
It does.
And I said, what year do you think that is? He's like, I don't know, 86, 87, I don't know.
What's funny is I saw a Bronco 2 today at the Walmart parking lot, and I don't see Bronco 2s very often. It was the same color combination as yours, and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh, look at that. But it does look like a classic Bronco. I mean, if you're somebody that doesn't keep up with what's going on, I mean, just glancing at it, you're not going to know the difference.
Yeah. We've added a couple of other things. Joe added a new little toy to it a couple of days, or a little thing to it, the skid plate.
Oh, yes.
JCR. Well, we didn't talk about that. JCR off-road is your bumper, right?
Yes,
the front bumper, the skid plate, and then rear bumper also?
Haven't done a rear bumper yet.
Okay, not yet.
Just to interject, JCR, you know how KC highlights, that's Kelly Charles highlights. JCR is Joe Charles Racing. Just so everybody's clear on what JCR is.
See, I mean, this is like the perfect build for you. It's your initials. It all plays in hand.
Yeah, I'd forgot about that. But yeah, we got the skid plate in, and I got it installed this past weekend. I've got, rock blocks. We've got their mud flaps, if you will. A little big. I ordered the big ones, but this thing, even though it has paint protection film, is getting pretty beat up on the bottom of the doors. And then if you get any kind of mud at all, it's getting all over the side of the vehicle. So I think those are going to be very functional, keeping rocks off the paint and keeping mud out of the inside of the truck when she's out with girlfriends on the middle of the work day when we're working, playing. So.
Yeah, he was working.
That's all right. What mods do you have? Do you have anything else that you want to do or in the works?
Rear seat, an official rear seat delete. And also, we saw an idea for a cover, kind of like a bed cover. Joe can explain better, but that was one of those, that's a good idea. We need to either find that product or figure out how to make one.
Yeah, it will cover the whole rear area behind the seats. My vision is that it will bolt to the body the same way that the top does, using those same locations, but cover all that up. We'll still be able to open the back and have access to things, and it'll have a hinge that'll hinge up so we can access even more stuff in the back. But just want it to be functional, but also, if you go to the grocery store or wherever and the top's everything off, it kind of keeps eyes off of certain things that'll be in there.
It keeps you from having to secure everything so much too, because when you got all the panels and roof and doors and everything off, and again, you go to the grocery store, well, The groceries just gonna fly out of the back. There's just so much circulation.
Slow down.
No, it's not the solution.
You got a lead foot.
I don't like that
You don't
answer.
have a, yeah. Who wants to drive slow? Never. Never. Now we got about 10 minutes left of the live stream, and I know you guys haven't been asking a lot of questions because we've probably been answering a lot of questions through this talk. But if you guys have specific questions for Joe and Kelly, go ahead and start asking them. And you know the drill. If we don't see them right away, keep asking because sometimes the comments start going quicker than what we can see. And then if you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and hit the like button for me. And if you want to share the video, if you enjoyed this live stream, I appreciate that as well. And then if you guys are on Instagram, you also have an Instagram for your Bronco. It's Retro Mod Bronco, correct?
Right. And so I am new to Instagram, so y'all have to forgive me that this is like an old dog trying to learn new tricks. I'm not posting like cool reels and effects and everything like all of these younger people are, but I am trying to at least document what we're doing and try to have some fun stuff on there. So if you're interested in seeing, you know, you've seen the Bronco, you've seen pictures of it, but if you want to kind of see pictures of where we go and friends that we meet up and, you know, if we meet up with other Broncos, pictures of their rides and stuff, would be
Awesome.
a good place to follow.
And Grayson had a great question that I don't think we've even talked about. How long did it take you? Because remind the people watching, you bought it, you took it to the mountains, but it was like the next day you dropped it off at the shop, right?
So we got it on February the 2nd.
February 2nd, yep, 2222.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, and you know, we went to the mountains. We took it to Glass Life and hurry up and wait. They had issues with their painter that said he was going to have it done this week and next week and the next week and the next week.
Yeah.
We finally got it back just a few nights before Supercell. So when was Supercell?
Oh man, it was April, March?
Would have been April something.
April something. I want to say the second weekend, April 9th through 13th or something maybe. I don't know.
So several weeks.
April 20th through 22nd, or 20th through 23rd.
Probably.
I think that's
okay.
it.
End of April then.
Yeah, the hard part was the paint and getting the paint done properly. Just that takes time.
Yeah, Colin, we trust Colin with all of our vehicles on the PPF and the ceramic and all of that stuff, and he's on point with getting done what needs to be done in a timely manner. But he, you know, his painter took longer than. So to answer your question, early February to middle of April would have been probably half that if we had worked with a painter that might have been a little better at planning.
I cannot imagine waiting so long for a Bronco that I just been collecting parts, had this vision, so afraid that people are going to take my idea and just waiting and trying to be patient, only to turn it over and wait some more.
And you're right. So I got it, took it over there, wait some more, get it, and then we couldn't both take off work that weekend, so we couldn't both go to Supercell. So
and who is the one?
Do I go?
Yeah,
or did Joe go? And I was like, well, I'm going to get to drive the thing every day. Joe's the one who has worked so hard and tirelessly to put this thing together. Let him be the one to show it to everybody. He can be better able to answer all the questions anyway. I'll drive it when he gets back. But then when he got back, we had to run it back over to Colin to do this. We had to go do that. And then it just seemed like every day there was a reason why it needed to be driven by somebody other than me.
Other than you. Oh my gosh. Well, here's a big question. Do you guys plan to go to Super Celebration Wisconsin?
No, but we definitely have it on the calendar for Tennessee next year. That was so much fun.
It was
unlike anything I'd ever been to before.
And I want to tell everyone, if you are able to drive and check out the Townsend, Tennessee Supercell East, what a fantastic time. And I'm telling you, instant family. Instant.
Yeah, Tom puts on one heck of a show. That was really, really cool.
That was my first one, and I'm definitely going back next year. It was awesome. If you guys have never experienced one, go. And I'm going to the Wisconsin one here next month. So it'll be nice to compare to see if they're all a little different, you know, which one might have better community or whatever. But I feel like if you have a Gen 6, there's already an instant bond because you all know about the weight. You've all bonded over all this. But even incorporating the classics with the Gen 6, it was just a family, and it was awesome. I love it. I mean, I know, Kelly, you weren't there, but I was always talking to Joe. I was parking next to him. Like, I got to go buy the cool
I
Bronco.
can't wait till next year. There's a great question on the screen. This is a very, very important question. Debs asks, what mod to be able to easily get in? See, Deb is my friend that went with me last Monday in the mountains. So we've discovered the perfect mod is a bucket.
Oh my
carried with us in the back.
Oh my god!
Once I picked her up at her house, I didn't carry a step stool or anything, and it was hard to. So I was like, "Will that work?"
How much lift do you have on it?
So it's got the king shocks, so it's probably an additional 1.5 to 2 inches.
It's not that tall; it's that we're that old, and we can't get our legs.
Well, that, and you have no steps.
We're out of shape. There's no,
Yeah, you have no steps, and that happens.
Yeah.
Like, I have a friend that they did the zone lift. I think it's like 3 or 4 inch, and then 37s, and they don't have a step, and it's a lot to step into a vehicle. Like mine, I got the Bodyguard rock sliders where it comes out a little bit, like it doesn't mess with the clearance, but it comes out where you can step, and it just, that little bit makes a huge difference. So especially if you're shorter or maybe not as limber, I agree, a bucket sounds like a pretty good mod.
It's the limber thing, I think, in our case.
So there's a couple of questions. Somebody's asking what trims the Bronco. It's a Badlands Lux. What made us get the 2-door instead of the 4-door? Duh, 2 doors. Had to be 2 doors. Had to be for us.
But Lauren, the reason for us, we don't have young kids at home. You know, we're empty nesters. Our kids are grown and gone. We don't have anybody needing to sit in the back seat. If we do, we got another vehicle for that. We just like the look of the 2-door better. At the time we ordered it, we didn't know that was going to be a lower production vehicle. That's just what we wanted. We just like the look better.
And the entire reason we wanted a 2-door, but the color, everything goes right back to our inspiration picture. It all just worked with everything that we wanted to do.
So did you come up with the inspiration before you ordered it then?
Yes. Yeah, we had the inspiration before it was actually
or
ordered.
before you placed, like, for the color and everything, if you knew you wanted to go that route. So you did the reservation and then got the inspiration, then ordered?
Yes. Yeah, we paid for the reservation fee, and then it was the following months.
We ordered the antimatter blue because we liked that color a lot. And then we had a general idea of wanting to do some sort of retro mod. We just didn't have that inspiration photo until much later to have something to actually copy. It was just, up till that point, it was just a conversation like, well, we could do this, we could do that, whatever. But we knew we did like the antimatter blue.
And if people can't see the pictures that well in person, you have the matte PPF, right? Is that what you have over it? So that's why it looks a little different. It's not as shiny, and I mean, you could still, it's really cool because you could still see the sparkle to it.
I love satin PPF.
But the satin finish, I love it. I love it. I love the satin on the Cactus Gray. I think the satin PPF is really awesome.
Satin in the world. I love satin. Goodness. Yeah.
So we were expecting, kind of a big response. I thought people would like it. We were not expecting the kind of response that we got. Somebody from Motor Trend reaches out and says, hey, can we do an article? Well, heck yeah, you can do an article. And,
that's awesome.
We have, a couple of retail stores, and people come in the stores and go, oh my gosh, I've seen this all over the internet the last several weeks, and I didn't know you were right here.
He was at the Buc-ee's the other day getting gas, and somebody across the parking lot says, oh my God, it's the Retro Mod Bronco.
That's so awesome.
They were from what, New York or New Hampshire or something?
I mean, it's Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is the best gas station ever. So
we got one right here.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I would go there and probably eat at least once a week because they've got, oh my gosh, their Reuben sandwich is so good. They got so many things on their menu that's so delicious.
DLT is the best. Grayson asked if we ordered it or got it at a dealership. It's a 21. We ordered it, so we were a first day reservation holder. Not that ended up mattering as much as we all thought it would, but we were. and then ordered it through our local dealership and just waited it out.
And did your dealership pull any fast ones on you?
No, our
Good.
dealership,
Our dealership
is
is awesome. Yeah.
Well, I imagine you probably buy quite a few from them since you have a
We
stable
do,
full
but
of Fords.
they're also just good people. I mean, it's just a
Good.
small town, but they're just good people. It's
Why don't
Prater
you?
Ford.
Can you give them a shout out? What?
Absolutely, it's Prater Ford in Calhoun, Georgia. I mean, they're just there's just hometown family. They wouldn't sleep at night if they did somebody wrong. They just can't. They're not like that.
Yeah.
It's we know the Prater family, and they're just good people. But yeah, they didn't even attempt to pull anything fast. The price
Good.
we agreed on was what we paid, and that was that.
Is this the dealership that you used to work at, Joe?
No, believe it or
Okay.
not, no. I worked at a dealership local to where we live, and then it closed down. Worked there for 10 years, and then I drove south of Atlanta. It was 70 miles one way to work.
Whew.
Yeah, I did that 5.5 years before we opened our own business. Yeah.
Grayson, the Buc-ee's is in Calhoun, Georgia. That we live close to Calhoun, so we're at that Buc-ee's a lot.
Wow. Well, if you guys have any more questions, go ahead and start spitting them out. We're going to probably cut it off here in a little bit. Kelly and Joe, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to touch on before we wrap this up? Is there anything you want to let the world know or give any teasers of what's to come? Are you getting some more Casey lights or anything like that?
We're just so appreciative of all the kind words. I mean,
You
we
know-
built this for us, for her, but it's just been.
We made the comment a while back. We live in the world we live in is different than it's ever been, and on the internet, people are just mean, and we all see it. We see the comments. People forget their manners. They forget who they are. They forget to be decent human beings. So anytime you get online, you open yourself up to some of that. It's just going to happen. So we knew when we started posting, there would be hate, there would be rude, and there haven't been though.
I was going to say, have you gotten any hate?
No,
Not really. No.
I can't imagine you
I'm just
would.
blown away that just general humanity has been nice about it.
I'm not inviting that. I'm just saying.
No.
But really, I mean, you guys, there's nothing really that's a little, like everyone, for me, there are builds that I would never do and it's not my taste, but I am happy for that person because they like it and that's what they want. Good for you. I would never badmouth it. But with yours, I mean, it's very classic and there's nothing really out of the ordinary where somebody be like, what were they thinking? So I think that has helped you too to not get the haters because it just turned out so freaking good. Just so awesome.
Thank you. Well, cars are just an area where you can really express your personality, your preferences, and everything. There's so many different things you can do, no matter what kind of car it is. So, yeah, I'm like you. I would never knock somebody else's build because it's what they saw. It's what makes them happy. If they go outside and get the feeling from looking at, walking around, driving their vehicle, parking at the store, going in the store and making 2 or 3 head turns back to look at it because they're proud of it. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. And I always say, if you're parking your car and you're not turning around,
Mm-hmm.
You bought the wrong car.
You bought the wrong car.
That's right.
100%. 100%.
We can't do this because we can't get another Bronco, but I already have ideas for a completely different retro-looking design on a Bronco that I would love to get my hands on another one and make it happen.
Maybe you get an older Bronco and make it.
No, it'd have to be a new one for me.
No, it'd have to be a new one?
Yeah, it'd have to be a new one.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it'd have to be another new one, have to be another 2-door. And not a Raptor.
Not a Raptor.
No hate there, but just not a Raptor.
Since you brought up Raptor, just give me a 2-minute spiel about what you think about it. You either love it or hate it. I feel like that's kind of the consensus with it.
So, hate is a strong word, but I hated the fender flares at first. When you see it in person, it's not that bad. It really isn't. But I can't wait to see the first Raptor with the fiberglass fenders from, is it, gosh, I can't remember.
ADV or something like
Yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah. And I would agree that the plastic, I don't like how there's like 3 different pieces and black plastic. Like I didn't like that. But like you said, in person, I mean, it's still, but it's not as ugh. I feel like
You know, I'm not gonna hate. I like what they're doing. What they're doing, they couldn't really pull off with the two-door because you don't have enough wheelbase, because they're going for the high-speed Baja Raising Cane, and that would be fun in a two-door, but it's going to be a lot of kind of hairy because that short wheelbase is going to react completely different than a little longer wheelbase.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. It wouldn't be the thing. Even if the prices were the same, it wouldn't be probably what I would order. It's just not my thing. But not everything has to be your thing. It's something for everybody.
Right, exactly. So I'm excited to see them out on the road someday. I mean, I know a lucky few have gotten an allocation for it, which I just want to.
I know several guys that have. Yeah, Doug Johnson.
It's crazy.
Rosen, Ken Bahonis, lots of guys.
And like Technical Disasters just said, the interior is really fantastic. And I think to get like that carbon fiber look, the one that I really like, it's like a $2,000 upgrade. Like, oh my goodness. I mean, the starting price for them is expensive, but it's like you're not getting it for that. Like all the stuff that you want, you're going to be paying way more for those extras. But it'll be exciting to see them out on the road. Definitely. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? Otherwise, we are going to wrap this up. Joe and Kelly, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
This was so fun.
Thank you to all the viewers for participating and supporting us, watching this. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, and keep us posted with your fall ride. I think that'll be a really fun experience. And then maybe I could, depending what it is, maybe I could drive up and see some fall colors, because here in Florida, the palm trees don't change colors.
They don't change colors?
You know what changes colors? License plate. Because you get all the snowbirds coming in, so you can tell it's fall and winter in Florida because the license plates change color. That's like an ongoing joke here.
How long before you text that to your mom?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we are going to wrap it up unless there's anything you guys want to talk about or give any shout outs or anything like that before we go.
Just, again, couldn't have done this without our buddy Colin at Glass Life. He's been a tremendous help. And just everybody, and I know I'll leave somebody out, but everybody that's been involved with the build. And I will say this. When I was looking for King shocks, everybody's like, oh, you can't find them. Don't give up. I spent hours on the internet, on the phone, calling people, looking, and I found them. You know, I got a bunch of the parts for this thing that are, some people would think were made of unobtainium. Just don't give up. Keep looking. You'll find what you're looking for.
Find some relatively small business out west that didn't come up as a top Google search just because he's just digging and calling everybody he could. And finally this one's like, well, we got a couple extra sets, and so we got them.
Wow, that's awesome. And if you don't have your Bronco yet, don't lose hope. It's coming. And I know it's so cliche when I say it's worth the wait, but I mean, it is. You know, some of us haven't had to wait as long as others. And then also don't forget about the promo code if you guys are interested in the Hammerbuilt, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. What do you call it? Tailgate reinforcement. Yes, reinforcement. 20% off with the code Retro Mod. It's only for 10 people. So make sure if you guys are wanting that, do that now, because I don't know how quickly that's going to go. And if you guys are on Instagram, give Retro Mod Bronco a follow. They post pictures, and it'd be cool just to see what is to come. I don't think you can make it any cooler, but you never know. It could happen.
And bear with me for being inexperienced on Instagram. I'm figuring it out.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Now, we have Buckle Up Buttercup has some videos coming out here next week that you guys will want to check out. And I'm actually flying out to IAG Performance tomorrow to check out their shop, so you can expect a video on that and some exciting news. They got lots of cool products ahead, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, guys, Buckle Up Buttercup, Joe and Kelly, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week, next Tuesday at 8 p.m. See ya.
See you, bye.